Hello, welcome back to the Fixing Football Podcast Extra. I'm your host Martin, and this episode, we are going to speak to one of my good friends, fellow DJ. In fact, he's one of the top DJs in the Northwest, and we're going to be speaking about his horrific choice in football club, which is Blackpool. DJ AshTee, how are you doing, mate?
Very well, yeah. You say horrendous footballing choice. We'll start. Is that how we're starting it off? Right, okay, that's it. As long as we know where we stand with it.
I've gone for the throat early on here, but
I was going to say you were interviewing Preston fans yesterday, I think, was it? So
yeah.
Unsubscribe.
It's an education all around. This is the point. Like, I do want to speak to people and fans of other clubs as well, especially fans of clubs that I don't know a lot about. I like to think I know a good bit about Arsenal and a decent bit about the Premier League, but when it comes to a lot of other clubs, you know, I don't want to be in the dark as much as I am. I feel like it's good to have a breadth of knowledge and like a balanced view of stuff, and not just the headline things that you see. So
100%, and there's plenty. Obviously, there's plenty of clubs to go around as well. But
that's it. I don't think I won't run out anytime soon. I think I'll be all right.
It's I was just saying just before we started though, I've just been away in Cyprus, and it is mad when you actually think about it. Like, I saw probably about 15 different football shirts whilst being away, and you literally go to the other side of Europe, and you're walking around the streets. I had my Blackpool shirt on, of course, but like there was a Stockport shirt. Someone had a Stockport shirt. A lot of like Manchester sort of clubs. Salford City shirt I saw. And then like your Liverpool's and Everton's and your Man United's, Man City's, obviously, which you're always going to get anywhere you go. But it was refreshing to see a few EFL shirts whilst out and about.
Yeah, of course. Well, really your season's just kicked off. First of all, let's start with you. If you want to introduce yourself a little bit.
Yeah, so my name's Ash Malone. Born and bred in Blackpool. Been a Blackpool fan since probably since birth, but pretty much when I was about 5 or 6 years old. My mum first took me to a game. Back in the days of Steve McMahon's managerial tenure, which was down in the depths of, well, I say the depths, we're still there, but the old Division 3. But it's been a roller coaster, no pun intended.
I was going to say, so you've been a fan all the way through the glory years of the Premier League and Ian Holloway and the.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's been a wild one. There's a little asterisk in there for the years between about 2014 to 2017, 2018, 2019, which was as many people may know, we had some ownership sort of disagreement, shall we say, between fans and the Oyston family, which were involved for a lot of years. So there was this big fan base wide protest, should we say. Where fans would stop going to home games, only go to away games, and that was, other than that, that's home and away pretty much since I was old enough to drive, certainly, especially for the away games. I've done 62 out of the 92
nice
clubs, like grounds visited now, so there's a couple more to tick off this season, which is good as well.
Yeah, that'd be good. So which ones are you looking forward to get into this year?
So one, actually, what day is it? Today, 7th. In 12 days from now, it's Mansfield, which is a new one. Yeah. It's a Tuesday night, but I don't mind Tuesday night games when they're in August. It's when they're in February, March, January sort of time. That's when you don't want to be going to the Tuesday night as well.
I was going to say the last time I was at Bloomfield Road was when Arsenal came to town, maybe 6-7 years ago.
Was it the FA Cup game?
Yeah, I think we won 3-0. Joe Willett got a couple goals, but that was mid-January.
It
was a long night.
It's not a nice, especially like obviously Bloomfield Road's quite close to the sea, so you do get that wind and that harsh rain that comes with it. But I mean, luckily, like I sit in the West Stand at Bloomfield Road, so we're sort of like very, very contained. Like it's not, you don't really feel the weather, which is good.
You only have to turn one wrong corner in Blackpool and you're going to get hit by that wind. That's TV.
But that's the thing with Bloomfield Road as well, is the away fans get shoved in the east, which is like so open. And you get the weather. Good.
Doesn't matter.
Good.
Yeah. So talk to me about Blackpool last season, and then a little bit about the story of the summer and what's been going on.
So last season was, I'll cut back very, very quickly to the season before last, because that season we had a very good season. We actually only finished outside of the playoffs by 3 points.
Yep.
And it's one of those footballing sort of like sliding doors moments where on the last day of the season we had to beat Reading to get into the playoffs, and we lost. So we finished 3 points off the playoffs. So they've actually got in on goal difference.
Right.
So then it was a case of like, as every club that finishes just outside the playoffs, that summer you go, right, it's going to be a good season. You get that feel good factor about it. We had Neil Critchley as head coach at this point.
Yep.
And then, yeah, the summer last season transfer window, it wasn't that great. It wasn't that great a window, especially using this summer's transfer window, which we'll get to as a comparison. But then, yeah, we started the season a bit dodgy. Critchley got sacked, and then we brought Steve Bruce in, which was a big shock in the within the fan base. It was a case of like,
it's a great get though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, 100%. There's all of the things that surround Steve Bruce as a legend in the game. Is obviously his coaching experience, maybe not as low down as League One. He's obviously had his successes mostly in the Championship.
He's got over 1,000 league games to his name as a manager.
He has, which is wild. Like, I remember the night that it was announced. It was September last year.
Yeah.
And we'd just played a EFL trophy. I can't remember what sponsorship it was last season, but it was the EFL trophy. And it was just the attendance was probably 1,500 that night. And then after walking back to the car, it was a case of like, on Twitter, it was like Steve Bruce announced as head coach as the new Blackpool manager, and there was a lot of shock. And it was one that could go two ways, because a couple of seasons earlier, we appointed Mick McCarthy as our coach in the season that we got relegated from the Championship. And again, that was sort of like, it was a big name in football, and it didn't really work out for Mick McCarthy. So there was a bit of skepticism throughout our club that was like, yeah, it's great on paper, but is it actually going to work, sort of thing. And it started really well. We were pushing into the top half up towards sort of October, November, and then as sort of Christmas and the New Year came around, we started drawing games. We didn't actually lose that many games last season, but we set a new EFL record, which was 8 home draws in a row. And it was just turning those draws into wins that we just couldn't seem to do.
I feel your pain. That's exactly where we were this time last year. So
it's frustrating though as a fan, because you think, I'd rather go to a game and see us win half of them and lose half of them if it was just, actually going for it.
The draws are so much worse.
And you actually do pick up more points, obviously, by winning more than drawing.
Of course, yeah.
Those 2 points deficit of loss every time you draw a game, you'd rather go all out and lose a few of the ones that you draw in, but then obviously in turn you're going to win some of them. But yeah, got into the new year last year, and it was sort of, we brought in Niall Ennis on loan from Stoke City, which turned out to be a really, really good signing between January and May. He pitched in with 7 goals in 18 games, I think it was.
Right.
And then you started towards the end of the season realizing, that's all we needed. We just needed a goal scorer. And we started pushing back up to the playoffs. There's a very famous story in Blackpool Football Club's history where it was when we got promoted back up to the Championship from League One in 2007. Amongst Blackpool fans, it's known as the perfect 10, because we won the last 10 games of the season to get promoted.
Yeah.
And this season just gone, we were sort of on a 4-game winning streak, then a 5-game winning streak, and then like 3 games from the end of the season, we lost a couple, and it just fell away. But there was that glimmer of hope, and it wasn't to be. Again, we finished 9th. But yeah, it's been, since then, we've had a really, really good transfer window.
I was going to say, so then has Steve Bruce been backed?
Yeah, massively. It was one of the things that was, questioned by the fans at the end of last season. Similar to the season before, it was a case of, we got close, but not close enough to the playoffs. Will he actually be backed in the summer? And, straight away off the back of maybe 2 weeks of the season ending, We've signed a couple of Championship defenders on free transfers. We got Ihekwe from Sheffield Wednesday, and we got Fraser Horsfall from Stockport. Not Championship defender, but he was Stockport's captain last season. Obviously, they had a really good season. They got in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So we nicked him on a free transfer, which was really, really good business. And it sort of feels like the way that the summer's gone so far is we've worked our way from the back slowly forward.
Is there a striker is that still a priority that you think you need to do?
Well, do you know what? If we'd have started this podcast about an hour and a half earlier, I'd have said 100%. But we've just at midday today announced that we've signed Dale Taylor from Notts Forest.
Cool.
He was a player that was on loan at Wigan last season and got their players player and fans player of the season.
All right. So that's looking like where you're going to be focusing the goals there. I like that.
100%. So that was it's been in the sort of rumour mill for like about the last week or two. And then it's finally been announced today. And we've signed him
exclusive. We've got exclusive.
There you go. You're here first. But we signed him on a 4+1 year deal, which is unheard of.
This is mad. Like, I was obviously speaking to my co-host Liam, who was talking about Bolton Wanderers. They've been starting chucking out a few 3 and 4 year contracts. Will, who I was speaking to about Preston yesterday, just signed a couple of players on 4-year contracts. I don't know if this is a new trend or clubs are really thinking about the future a lot more, but we haven't seen these 3 and 4 year contracts in the EFL Championship down forever, as far as I can remember.
It is crazy. It's unheard of. It is unheard of. Well, especially at a club like Blackpool.
Yeah,
who have been bouncing around divisions for the last 10 years.
Well, finances are so unpredictable that it makes sense to not do a 4-year contract. You can just see, and I guess there's going to be clauses and etc. But
of course, yeah.
Like the clubs are on a shoestring most of the time, and it's 1 in 1 out deals, and it's rare that the club will even get like a 5 million bounty to go and spend that, rather than the crazy millions that we're seeing at even like Derby, and like obviously Wrexham and Birmingham have their own little kitty to go at. But like all these clubs are going for it now, and like I like it. I like the optimism. I like teams going for it and trying to build something. It can only provide a bit of hope for the fans that something's happening.
Massively. And one of the things that I've always said with I always, obviously it's a podcast about Blackpool, but referring to Blackpool again, I was having this discussion with a couple of my mates that I go to the games with. Our longest serving player has been with the club for 4 years, and it's a case of like, but other than that, players that we've got have been 2 or 3 seasons at most.
Yeah.
And you don't really see clubs hold on to players for that's unprecedented. Like having that we've got 2 actually. There's our club captain James Husband and CJ Hamilton, who's one of our wingers. They've both been at the club since the summer of 2020. It's actually 5 years. But then other than that, like other than maybe like I remember is it Dean Lewington who played for MK Dons? Is that his name?
Yeah.
For like 20 years or something. But then on a club by club basis, you don't really get that. So seeing, like, going back to the point, like seeing these, deals that are getting progressively longer and longer, it's good for the fans because, they can actually attach to those players.
That's what you need.
A case of like every summer, every January, players coming in, coming out, loan players, loans out.
Exactly. Well, that was always the formula. You get a couple young loans, maybe from the Premier League, a couple players on the way out, and then a few players who are used to the league and the format and that style of football, and that's sort of the formula of how teams have got up in the past. So, but I like it that teams are building. So it sort of leads me on nicely to your thoughts on the club as a whole, where you're currently at, the general fans feeling around Blackpool at the moment.
Yeah, it's really, really strong feeling this season, I would say. I'm an optimistic football fan. I've probably said it for about the last 5 or 6 seasons in a row. We're going up this year. But this season, it is a feeling amongst the fan base.
Well, I think after Luton and Huddersfield, I think the chasing pack amongst that is going to be quite big.
Massively.
But very competitive. I think Blackpool are well within the rights to say we should be at the top of that list.
Yeah, and like you say, there is a lot. You've got your Boltons, your Cardiffs, Plymouths, even clubs last season that did well but didn't quite make it. Leyton Orient, they've made a couple of good signings. Stockport. I watched the Stockport game on, I think it was Sunday, and they just signed that Mother's Hill from Peterborough. Who was, I don't know if he actually got in the League One team this season last year, but he would have been close to it because he's a quality player. Scored the winner on that day. But again, I've got this feeling that a lot of other fans in League One are all having the same feeling. It's everyone's year this year. It's that sort of thing. But, that makes for a more competitive league, which is obviously only ever going to benefit the fans, which is great. Looking forward to the season massively.
Oh, that's good. So for me, the novice, the uneducated Blackpool enthusiast, who's the star man, the MVP of Blackpool at the moment? Who's the one who people should be looking at to think, is he doing the business yet?
Do you know what? I'm going to go for a bit of an underrated, maybe not underrated, but sort of under the radar sort of player. And he's a new player that we actually only signed in January, but his name's Tom Bloxham. So winger. We signed him from Shrewsbury in January. And he maybe only played about 5 or 6 games last season, but you could tell there was a quality there.
Oh, okay.
He had a bit of an injury at the end of last season. So he sort of was a bit staggered with, coming on as a sub and not really.
Yeah, never really got going,
Yeah, but then in the glimpses that we saw him last season, it was just a case of this is a player, this lad. Nice. I think he's 21 years old, 6'4", 6'5", but he's a winger, very strong.
Mate, where are all these? Honestly, these kids, 20, 18-year-olds, 6'4". What is happening?
It's crazy.
I'm going to need to get my son on some testosterone ASAP.
Project Lockton. There you go.
It could be Project Hal, and I need to start stretching him out. I mean, I'm vertically challenged as well. if I want anything for my son, big time.
No, it's good though. I could probably pick about 3 or 4 players. George Honeyman, who we've just signed from Millwall, Championship quality back in League One.
See, Lee Evans has took the armband as well for the pre-season.
Yeah, and he's a player that we signed last summer. He was probably the standout signing last summer, and he had a great start to the season last year. Most big chances created in the whole division up to November sort of time.
Yeah.
But then he was one of the players that sort of dropped off a little bit, and then obviously we've only played 1 game this season. He was one player that was sort of maybe misplaced in passes when usually his deliveries, well, especially comparing it to last season, it was really good. But then again, not using an excuse, but Steve Bruce certainly would be. We've had a lot of injuries over the summer. And we even started we played 3 at the back with 2 wing backs on Saturday, which we don't usually do. With 4-4-2 under Steve Bruce. But then this Saturday, with the new signs that we've made this week, it's looking like it's this Saturday is the start of the season sort of thing. It was like last Saturday was practice, but yeah, it's exciting. It's
my mate Lee. I did his wedding when he was still at Ipswich.
Yeah.
His wife Charlotte and their young family. So I was cute, but me and a friend of the show JP had to drive all the way to some castle near Ipswich to go and do his wedding.
No way.
And then next thing
I never knew that.
Yeah, and then next thing he gets transferred up here. So I'm like, you could have got married around here, mate.
Yeah. Wow. How have you never told me that before?
I guess he played for Ipswich and it weren't relevant, but it was the year. So he signed. Where did he go? He went to Portsmouth.
Portsmouth, yeah. Wait, that's who we signed him from, Portsmouth.
Yeah. So they just moved from. I mean, he don't move anywhere close by. He seems to stretch out his transfers, and I'm worried for his family that they'll be off to Saudi Arabia next. Yeah.
Here, there, and everywhere.
So from Ipswich to Portsmouth to Blackpool, it's
taking them all off in all areas of the country. But no, he's a good player. He's even at, looking at all the behind the scenes footage that Blackpool put up on Tangerine TV, which is a subscription service and things like that. You can tell that he's one of the lads, and he's got a good aura around the dressing room, and it makes sense for him to be the captain. I
agree.
I think he's obviously had the experience in these sort of divisions, and
so he sort of answered it. He sort of answered it in the first one, but I was going to say who's one to watch, maybe someone who people haven't got their eye on as much, who you think might have like a breakthrough season? But I think that sort of might be the same as your star man, the young lad.
Yeah, I would say him 100%. But there's a couple of players that, if to pick someone else, for example, we've got a lad called Hayden Coulson, who's
Okay.
left back, and he's a player that he didn't start every game last season, but when he played, he was good. And I think there's a lad that we've got, Zach Ashworth, who he was at Bolton before us.
Oh,
He
yeah.
played at left back on Saturday in the second half, so they played a half each, and both of them look good at left back position.
Fullbacks are so important these days. Like, it seems to be the position that people want to nail down and get a new dynamic, like really exciting player to.
100%.
Just seems to be the one.
Yeah, and I read our fan forums quite a lot. Another View from the Tower was one of like Blackpool's main ones, and off the back of last Saturday, I see a lot of fans sort of criticising Coulson and Ashworth, but I think reading that's it's just the beauty of being a football fan, differentiating views.
It's what we do, mate. Yeah,
and I've always liked him since he's come in, Hayden Coulson. I think he'll be an important player this season, I think.
Cool. So let's give DJ AshTee the power, the full control of Blackpool for a day, a week, whatever.
Nice.
This is the whole point of this podcast. We're here to fix things. We're here to try and make football better, whether it be we just go and sign a centre-back or a new goalkeeper, or it needs to be the North Stand gets reimagined, or there's the ticketing system or something. Like, what would be your first port of call as chairman of Blackpool for a day?
So the first thing that I would do, we actually got planning permission for this last year, but it sort of stalled a little bit. But training ground, that'd be the main thing. Blackpool's training ground is, over the years, especially when the year that we're in the Premier League, it's been widely known as being a bit of a dump, let's say.
Where is the training ground?
It's at Squires Gate, so up near Blackpool Airport.
Right, yeah.
So it's there was a famous picture that did the rounds on social media like many years ago, where it was Blackpool Football Club Centre of Excellence, but excellence was spelt wrong. It was it was that was.
I know that pitch well. It's a windy old spot. That it's not ideal.
But Simon Sadler, our owner, he had put in. I don't know if he'd bought the land or he'd put in proposals to buy the land. I can't actually remember the full details, but there's a site just on the way up through to Polton.
Right, okay.
And it was going to be, a new sort of similar to Fleetwood Town. They've got Poolfoot Farm, which is a great training complex.
Yeah.
Proper facilities, 5-a-side pitches, all that sort of thing. And we don't have that, and you look at like Fleetwood Town as the example, they're in League Two. They've got a miles better training facility than Blackpool have.
So important,
massively important, and even for the players, turning up day in day out. I think the training ground that we do have, in all fairness, is a lot different to what it was even 5 years ago. I think this summer they've put a lot of work into making it a little bit better.
Well, it's where they spend most of the time.
Yeah.
So it's super important. I know during my time at Bolton Wanderers, but like when they were moving, or they'd recently moved from Exton, this old Exton, to Wigan as part of some cost cutting stuff. But Exton was super purpose built. It was like Sam Allardyce's baby.
Yeah.
And then they moved to Lostock, and there was just porta cabins, and the players were so miserable. And it didn't help that half of them weren't being paid for a period of time. But it was just a culmination of a million things. But partly they're getting trained in porta cabins, and the club who are trying their hardest on the pitch, but stuff don't happen, and it makes a massive difference when you look at Premier League clubs who invested, like Leicester, how much of a draw that was for a long time, where the Premier League facilities are still considered one of the best in the country. I think it's a massive deal. I think it's a good place to start.
100%. And then even just sort of touching on an addition to the training ground, our East Stand. And again, going back to what I just said a minute ago, the club has done really well this season. They've repainted it, they've changed all the seats and everything. But the fact still stands that East Stand was built to comply with Premier League regulations back in 2010. And it was a temporary stand, which was only meant to be up for a maximum of 5 years or 4 years or something like that. And then 15 years later, it's still there. And you hear stories of away fans that have gone through the wood down into the next row, and it's
Sure.
I've obviously never sat in the East Stand, but it looks better now. Like looking at the game on Saturday, it's all, like I say, it's all been painted. It's all the seats are brand new, so they're all shiny and tangerine, which we love to see. And the safe standing's gone up in the southeast corner, which is really good.
Oh, perfect.
As well as the North Stand at Blackpool.
I like that. Have you found that? Have you been in them sections? Or have you like taken advantage of the safe standing?
No, so I always have sat in the West Stand at Blackpool, which is just normal seating. The North Stand is what's renowned as the atmosphere section. It's where all of the people that chant 90 minutes non-stop plus added time. It's one of them where I've always enjoyed going to the home games. I like to sit and enjoy the game.
Yeah, I'm saying
behind the goal, I associate with away games.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not that the atmosphere is good in Bloomfield Road 360 as I'd biasly obviously say anyway. But it's good, and I also like at home games, especially like seeing the atmosphere from my position as well. It's quite a good point because I pretty much sit right on the halfway line, just above the dugouts. But the safe standing, it's I remember when it first came in, I think Celtic put it in, and then I think Man United have put it in recently as well within the last few seasons, and it's great.
Daniel Levy was talking about it in a recent interview, but you can't even tell that it's there in Spurs' stadium. Their stadium's magnificent to be in. I don't know if you've had the chance to go, but it's
actually not been.
It's stunning. It's so annoying how good it is. Like,
it's a multi-purpose as well, isn't it? They have all the concerts there and the boxing, and
apart from parking, because you can't park there for shit. That's just a London thing. They're just like, "What are you doing turning up in a car?" No. But
I've driven past. Me and JP have driven past.
Oh yeah.
I've never actually been in it. I went to White Hart Lane. I'll take that one off. I've been to the Emirates. Been to the Emirates a couple of times. I went to the Emirates on the 6-0 thrashing Premier League game. That was nice. An experience. But
who got the goals? Arshavin got the goal that day.
Theo Walcott scored a hat trick.
Yeah.
Diaby scored one. There was Marouane Shamak scored one.
I think Gervinho got one maybe as well. I'm trying to think of that day. Oh, that was a fun time of a club. Anyway, So fill me in lastly, expectations then for the season. I know we sort of covered it a little bit at the beginning, but are you expecting to be in that chasing pack behind the big two? Do you think you could push for automatic? Is that what you think, and what you think Steve Bruce is going to be expecting as well?
Cool. Yeah, I'd first of all, I would say that after we've finished 8th and 9th last 2 seasons in a row. So I'd say anything above that is a bonus. Progression. You want your team to be beating what they did last season. But then going above that, you are looking at playoffs. So I think from a realistic point of view, I would say that playoffs is the minimum as a Blackpool fan. And then the sort of non-realistic, not non-realistic, but the fan in me of the Blackpool fan in me is going to definitely say that we've got to be pushing for that top 2 this season. Good. Looking at the additions that we've made in the summer, Steve Bruce's first full season as a manager of Blackpool. He was in from September onwards last season, but still he's not a full season. Whereas this season,
of course, he had that break as well last season. I said break, but obviously there's a family tragedy, and so he would have had that time as well. So it was obviously a bit stop-start for him as well during his Blackpool time.
So it's nothing but optimism from my end, and I think that's a that feeling is mutual between all Blackpool fans at the minute.
Good, I like it. You know what? This is 3-4 preview episodes in a row. We've had a good bit of optimism. This is what the start of the season does to you. It fucking fills you with this hope. Like, I'm going to do the Arsenal one this week, and
nice.
I'm going to say that we're going to win the league and the Champions League probably. And
everything.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
Ryder Cup, Wimbledon, Silverstone, the win it all.
We're having them all, and that's just the way it is. And then come end of September, I'll be miserable again, and
I was thinking, why did I even think?
I can't believe I said
it
that.
was the same with us. Like this, I've had this feeling all summer. You know, as the signs have been slowly dripping in, and then Saturday came around and we lost to Stevenage.
Yeah.
It's just like, right, back down to earth you go.
That's it. Football is the great equaliser. Listen,
indeed.
Ash, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate, to speak to you.
No,
Where can people find you and your unbelievable DJ? Now, I know we didn't touch on it because this is a football podcast, but we are both DJs and co-workers, let's say that. We don't get to spend as much time together these
not
days.
as much as I'd like, no.
Yeah, where can people find you? What's your social media and stuff?
You can find me on Instagram, which is the @DJ AshTee, T with a double E.
Perfect.
I don't really use anything else, if I'm honest. I'm not into TikTok or anything like that. I just Instagram.
The pains of TikTok and producing content. This is enough. I just want people to look at this and go, he's probably a good DJ, so.
Yeah, we'll stick him on the line of Creamfield. You know what I mean?
That's it, mate. It's in a couple of weeks. I've got my new. I'm going. I'm ready. I can't wait. Thank you again, mate. We'll definitely catch up very soon. Thank you everyone for listening. You can find us at Fixing Football on Twitter /X and at Fixing Football Podcast on Instagram. Website's still down, but it's coming back, so you'll be able to get that soon. This episode will be out very soon, and best of luck to Blackpool and yourself, mate, and your ever-growing family.
Much appreciated, mate. You too. Thank you.
Perfect. Catch you soon. Bye.